Mm-hmm. Well, welcome. As you probably know, our governor here in Virginia has given us the opportunity to gather back in our sanctuary here at Beulah Baptist Church, and we want to let you know that we'll be attempting to do that on the 24th of this month, so a week from Sunday, and then we will meet at 9 a.m. and 11 o'clock a.m. here in the sanctuary, and that way we have two different groups. We'll keep it smaller, and our number one priority is to keep you all safe, and so there's going to be a lot of guidelines that we're going to ask you to follow, and we're just, in fact, we're going to demand that you follow them because it's very important that we do this in order to respect one another. I want to give you a verse of scripture from Philippians chapter 2, verse number 4, which says, "Let each one of you look out not only for his own interest, but also for the interest of others." So this is a good verse for us to take to heart and to think about as we come back into our sanctuary and we practice physical distancing. And while we may be comfortable being up close with people, others are not. And so we're just going to have to abide by these guidelines, and Pastor Jeremy is going to come and share those guidelines with you.
Yeah, so again, we're looking to do everything we can to get back in person, but like Pastor mentioned, we want to adhere to the policies that the governor has given us, some of the mandatory policies that he's given us that we have to follow, that we can't be lenient on or anything like that. A couple of those things, obviously, is the 50% capacity. We're going to do everything. We'll probably go a little bit under 50% just to be safe on our end. So we're going to try to limit about 100 people in the service. That'll be each service, so we can do 100 at the 9 a.m., 100 at the 11 a.m. service as well. Obviously, that number can fluctuate a little bit, but we want to be rather safe than sorry kind of thing in this aspect. A couple of the things for the 9 a.m. service and the 11 a.m. service, we'll be doing every other pew. And so the 9 a.m., if we use pews 1, 3, 5, 7 for the 11 a.m., then we will use pews 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on and so forth. We'll have limited numbers per pew. We want to maintain the 6 feet distance even when we're sitting, not just as we're moving in and out of the church, but also while we are actually sitting there and watching pastor preach, and we're being a part of the worship time. There's a couple other things that we'll make sure we're going to follow the social distancing guidelines to a T. This week I'll be putting down tape all throughout the church through where you guys will be walking every 6 feet. So as you guys are walking through the church, if there's someone at the tape line in front of you, we ask you not to go past that 6 foot increment that we will have. That will be on the ground. As well as we will mark all the pews where you guys can sit, and we will have people, security, they will show you where to sit. This isn't going to be a free-for-all. You're not going to be able to choose your seat. You sit wherever we ask you to sit, and we ask you to maintain that spot through the whole service, not wandering around talking to other people. We want to respect each other's distances. There will be no childcare during the foreseeable future. So if you bring your kids, they will have to stay in the service. If there is an emergency, you're more than welcome to walk to the back of the sanctuary, into the vestibule area, and attend your child in that area. There will be no going to the kids' cove or anything like that. We are going to limit where we go in and out of this church. A couple other things, there will be 2 entrances and 3 exits. You can either enter through the front of the sanctuary, which is technically the back, and you can come through the center double doors up the ramp, or you can park in the back of the church and come through the glass doors by the elevator and come up by the piano. Again, we will have security and volunteers showing you where to go, making sure we adhere to the protocols, and then when we exit, we'll exit the same 2 ways, and we'll also exit out the organ side and come out the side of the church. We're doing everything we can to make sure, again, the social distancing is probably the biggest thing that we've talked about as a COVID-19 team, making sure that we adhere to that. Two other things. Bathroom, we will have the bathroom at the back of the sanctuary open and for use, but we urge you, if you can use the bathroom before you come, that will be the best thing. It will keep less things for us to clean. We will be cleaning in between services, before service, after service. We'll be doing as much as we can, but if you can make our jobs easier, we do. And if you do use the bathroom, we urge you to be a good steward and to clean. We'll have disinfectant spray down the touched areas as you leave for the next person if they have to go. There will be no bulletins. We will be taking all the hymn books and the Bibles, the connection cards, the pencils, everything. Nothing will be in the pews at all. We'll be taking that and putting that in a secure location. And again, we'll have hand sanitizer everywhere. And we're just doing everything we can to adhere to the standards that the governor has given and to the standards that we created as a task force last night. We're looking forward to having everyone back in the church. Pastor's got one last thing he wants to mention, and we'll hope to see you guys this Sunday and then when we return on May 24th.
Yeah, so again, we're doing everything that we possibly can to keep you safe. We know that every individual is going to have to make decisions for themselves as to what your plans are. We provided you for a number of weeks now with a drive-in service so that you could stay in your cars. We had asked you to stay in your cars, and that served us well for a long time. And now we're going to try to work our way back into the sanctuary, but we're just going to require you to keep your distance from other people. And so our security team and others are going to make sure that this happens. Just like we look out for your safety and other dangers, we're also going to look out for your safety when it comes to transmittable diseases. And so feel free to wear a mask to the service. We're not requiring it, but feel free to wear a mask. Feel free to wear gloves. Again, we're going to seat you. We're going to escort you in. We're going to escort you out. And even when you get out into the parking lot, please practice that physical distancing so that you're not going right up to someone and shaking hands while you're on the premises, while you're on the church property. Please respect those who are here to worship. We're going to do everything we can to meet back in person, but it's going to require all of us working together to make that happen. We're going to have to follow the guidelines that's set out by the church council, by the task force that has put these guidelines together for us. So we just ask that you make sure there's no walking around. Once you're seated, you stay seated. No walking around. If you do that, we're going to ask that you return to your seat. If you're not willing to return to your seat, then we're going to ask you to leave the premises. It's just that important that we respect people's wishes, and people are absolutely afraid, and we understand that. This is a deadly disease in our nation, and so we want to make things safe for you. And we really appreciate you being willing to follow all the guidelines so far, and we know you're going to do that once you come back in on the 24th. And so we look forward to seeing you, as many of you as possible that would like to come to the 9 o'clock service. That might help free things up more for the 11 o'clock service. We're trying to get a good, even divide there as far as how many people come to each service. We are going to keep it under about 100 or so people in the sanctuary at a time. So we'll guarantee you that. We'll guarantee you the 6-foot physical distancing, and probably even then some. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.